guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Dimmick Cadillac in sunny Clearwater, Florida, because guess what? We have it here first in the area. This is the all-new, from top to bottom, stem to stern, 2020 Cadillac CT5. Let's talk a little bit about Cadillac history. Cadillac's been around for so many decades, really known as that American luxury brand. It's had its high points, it's definitely had its low points, but one thing is for sure, they're doing some restructuring at Cadillac, and especially their lineup of vehicles, to really hit some sweet spots of what people want when looking for that luxury car. This 2020 CT5 is actually not going to just replace one vehicle in Cadillac's lineup, but it's actually replacing two vehicles. That old saying, two birds with one stone. So this CT5 is going to replace the CTS and the smaller Cadillac ATS. One thing is for sure, this is now sitting, the CT5 sits on the Alpha 2 chassis, which is supposed to be even better than the Alpha 1 chassis. And what's great is that the CT5 is going to fit a lot of different budgets, and of course they're going to have that high performance version as well. So let's go ahead, dive into this 2020 CT5 and see what's really different. Right off the bat, you'll notice we grabbed one in Velocity Red. I'm so glad that they had this one here at Dimmick Cadillac. Really makes the car pop. Look at what they're doing with the headlight design. Still sticking with that Cadillac-esque style, but all new for 2020. So you're gonna obviously have all LED headlight design. I really dig the daytime running light, especially the way it starts high up top and then drops down past the split in the front fascia all the way down. Really, like I said, it's a whole branding thing. Branding is not just about the emblem on a car, but also about other features like lighting and grille areas. Now, speaking of grills, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. You do have a lot of gloss black, which with the Velocity Red, I think works really well. I'm zonking this top area though. This is all fake. The great news is this lower section is functional. Now, on this one with the Sport package, as we come across the front, you're gonna get that nice Sport grille. I love the black top portion of it, but if you notice, that very iconic, brand recognizable brushed aluminum look really sets the car apart. And with the Velocity Red, I think it hits it to a T. Now, if you notice, as we work our way down, we have the same grille design on the lower section as well, all gloss black, and really kind of neat the way that they did the style on the corners, how they have it extended, and then it wraps up top and almost flip-flops. It makes this lower red portion almost like the lip spoiler part rather than the other way around. But from one side to the other, definitely Cadillac, and definitely I think moving in a great direction with that iconic badging. Now when we go up under the hood, I like what's happening here. We have some very nice bold lines to kind of give a raised section to it, and that peak in the center, everything kind of fades away as you go towards the windshield. Nothing too crazy, but it really almost gives it motion standing still. And I think one of the reasons why that this is happening is this light design. And it's crazy to think that the ATS and the CTS are dead. The CT5 is here, but it's got a lot of the same styling cues, but in a new format. Now, as we come around the bend, I love this very strong, prominent line all the way around the fender. And then here's what we're working on wheel and tires. So this is a 19-inch wheel, like the brushed aluminum, little bit of machined aluminum. You can see the larger caliper there, 6-piston caliper with the Cadillac script. So you're gonna get some really good braking performance out of this CT5, even though this is not the Blackwing edition. The Blackwing edition is what's replacing the V series, and that's gonna be your top dog. Expect that to come soon here on Rady's Rides from Dimmick Cadillac. But if you're wondering, well, what's the size of this? 245 on the width, and then the sidewall is a 40 series sidewall. The car just has a nice look to it as it's sitting here in the parking lot, but very, very nicely done so far. Now, as we keep working our way, you're gonna have the Cadillac badge that they put on the fenders. It's in the good right spot. It's not too large. I'm glad that they put something, because without this, it kind of would be a little bit on the bland side, but just a little tack right there, it makes sense to me. Now, as we go down, you can see the rake of the windshield with the A-pillar. You have the gloss black spilled everywhere here. So we have it on the inside where the mirror is located, out onto the mirror, Velocity Red mirror caps with your LED turn signal. Up top, you're gonna get a split panoramic sunroof. My one zonk is black out this roof, please. Black it out, right? Does anybody have any black paint around here? Because I'll do it. I think that would just add to the sportiness of this CT5 with the sport package. But you can see how they have the gloss black, both top and bottom, color match door handles, even the little touches. I'm gonna have Tom kind of show you the touches. They even put a little embossed Cadillac logo in the door handle. You have your light up trim on the outside, very nicely done. And this has like a pneumatic button. You actually push it. You're not pulling on a handle, you actually push it to open the door. Something that is sort of like Corvette-esque with that button that you just hit to open up the door. Down low, I really love the addition of this side sill extension. I think it adds to the sportiness of the car, and even how bold the body line is down here really gives the side of the car a lot of character. Now, as we work our way back, you can see how that roof line kind of slopes down. Very interesting what they did here. This is actually not glass, but they kind of made it look like dark tinted glass with the trim all the way around to a nice point. Really gives the car a nice flow as it drops down to the rear. You can see almost like the rear has a flared out fender look. I'm really digging it. I think one of the best parts that's allowing that to happen is that prominent belt line that just runs into the taillight section. And out back, I think really they knocked it out of the park. The design of the rear taillights mimics what's happening up front. Of course, it's all LED, and of course, it's Cadillac-esque. As you come down, you can see you have gloss black rear diffuser with a little bit of red. Your reverse light mounted nice and low. That's gonna help light up that area behind you. The exhausts, they're tasteful. Now, they are decorative, but there are functional pipes behind there, and I kind of like the angled look. It's not looking so much like a vacuum cleaner, so I think it fits the car well. A little bit of brushed aluminum trim, and then I'm digging the trunklet spoiler. The trunklet spoiler almost makes the back of this car. You got your new CT5 badge. The one thing I'm gonna zonk is this a math problem? Is this like an algebra problem or something? I don't like the 350T. I think that's gonna confuse people. This one having a turbocharged engine, I think it would have been better just to put a 2.0T or something like that, or maybe nothing at all. But why don't we go ahead, pop the hood, since the cat's out of the bag, let's go check out that 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine. All right, guys, we got the hood pop. You do have hood struts, which is nice. Underneath this hood, now the great news is you're gonna have a variety of different engines to choose from. This one we're starting out with is, like I said, a 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine. The great news is it's made it to a 10-speed automatic transmission, very fast shifting transmission. The turbocharger is an upgraded twin scroll design. You're looking at 237 horsepower, 257 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 is 7.1 seconds, quarter mile, 15.3 at 92 miles an hour. And if you're wondering, well, what is the return on the MPGs? 23 in the city, 32 on the highway. I think the great news is this engine setup has plenty of power for those that are not looking for the extremes. There will be obviously the naturally aspirated V6, and then of course that Blackwing edition. Fingers crossed they bring back the ultimate power in a true V-Series car. I don't care what you call it, Blackwing, Black V, whatever you want to do. But let's go ahead, fire up this 2-liter turbocharged engine and see if it makes any sound. All right, guys, we're inside the all-new Cadillac CT5. I think one thing is for sure that Cadillac has definitely done a good job trying to fill in the gaps of replacing two vehicles. Like I said, the ATS, which was the smallest Cadillac available, and then you had that mid-size CTS. If you're wondering, well, Joe, I'm liking the direction of this CT5. Cadillac seems to be doing some interesting things styling-wise. How much is this one? This one, the way it's optioned, is right at an MSRP of around $51,000 and change. Let's see what you get for the money. Now to the door panels. There is a lot of dark, but you know what? They did a good job breaking it up with some nice contrast stitching there. You have the carbon fiber material with some silver around the base, and then I'm really digging this one has the Bose sound system and that nice brushed aluminum cover. Soft material at the top of the door panel, and the leather is very, very soft on the armrest, and a decent sized pocket in the door for a drink. And you know what? You could have your Twinkies in your Cadillac, just not my Cadillac. If you're in my Cadillac, no eating anything in my Cadillac. Solid material on the dash. I like the stitch work. There's more of that carbon fiber. I like to find out if this is real carbon fiber or faux. It looks really great. If it's not real, it looks pretty spot on. I like the continuation of the silver trim. And then guess what? All new. Remember, we're on that Alpha 2 chassis, so this is all new. This is a 10-inch infotainment system. I like the way it's kind of like brought into the dash and then lean forward. As of right now, I'm not getting any glare. Great size, clear graphics. You got your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You could get into your climate controls, heated seats, ventilated seats. Everything is all nicely placed. Real easy to rock and roll with this new CT5. We keep dropping our way down. A little bit of gloss black, but that's okay. Here's your start stop button. I like the stitch work. And then I'm also digging these switches. Watch this. If you want to change the speed of the blower fan, let's say, for example, on the AC, you push down to bring it down. But if you want to raise it, you just raise the button. That to me is smart. I like that touch. The buttons feel good. Here's your ventilated seats. And then you have your heated seats on both sides. Wireless charging, which is nice to see. You have a little tiny cubby here for those breath mints. If you're about to pick up your date, 1, 2, 3, pop it right in. More of that carbon fiber design. I'm liking this. This really makes it feel upscale. All soft material. The stitch work is really great. You have a nice lid for your 2 cup holders. Close that up, and then this is going to be your wheel drive controller where you could adjust everything from the fly. It's got a nice feel to it. I like what they did with the look. Little bit of silver trim. This is controlling that 10-speed automatic transmission, which you can put into manual mode, and there are paddles on the back of the steering wheel. They are plastic, but I do like the size of them. That was well done. You have a little tiny slot here to drop your phone in. The armrest is as hard as Plymouth Rock, to be honest with you. When the Mayflower came, I think this is where they got the actual hardness of that rock for the armrest. So that's a zonk to me. I'm gonna go ahead and raise it up. That's another issue. If you are my passenger and you want something out of here, you're gonna have to ask me for permission. And then I'm gonna have to take my eyes off the road and kind of wander around in here. But inside, I do like though this little cubby for your phone. That's a nice thing. Or you can take your Twizzlers and slide it right in there. So that's either a phone holder or a Twizzler holder. USB, USB-C, and a 12 volt, and more felt lining than you'll find on some old furniture in your grandmother's house. Seats, I love the design. Nice leather. You got the little crest, the Cadillac crest there. Love the perforated center. The material is so soft. The leather is really nice and soft. You do have the hammies extension for those lower hamstrings. I do like that touch. And then the updated key fob. It's a little large, but you know what? It's got a nice look to it. And on the back, you got a plethora of buttons, including remote start, which is nicely done. And then of course up top, like I promised you, you have that split style panoramic sunroof. I'm not really loving this thing right here. I wish it was just straight up panoramic, so I am gonna zonk that, but I'm sure if this was not here, there might be some lost rigidity of the structure on this Alpha 2 chassis. But you got a nice frameless auto dimming mirror, which is great. And I have plenty of headroom. I feel great. There feels like a nice amount of space, and it feels really sporty, hence this being a luxury sports sedan. But why don't you get on over behind the wheel? I'll show you the business end of the new CT5. All right guys, business end, new CT5. You do have 2 memory settings for the driver's side, which is a nice touch, obviously. You have the brushed aluminum trim there. There's the Cadillac logo as you enter in and out of your CT5. You got your electric assist seating, which is nice. And then this steering wheel, they did a great job on the thickness, man. I'm telling you, this feels like it's out of a race car, the thickness of the wheel. I wish that it had the same contrast stitching that was around here. So to me, that's a missed opportunity. I'm not gonna zonk it because it looks good, but it would be nice to have the same contrast stitching if you're gonna go the contrast stitching route. I already showed you the paddles, and I also like the way they brought the silver trim around the stalks for the turn signals and the windshield wipers. Just gives it a nice elevated feel and look. Flat black on the buttons, a little bit of silver trim. There's that iconic logo staring you in the face. And then right there in the middle is you have a large LED display you could scroll through. Look how clear that is. It's almost like a video game. As you scroll through that information, obviously you're gonna get all the driver assistance aids and whatnot. Analog tach, analog speedometer. And I do like what they did on the hood here. They brought that stitch work, the contrast stitch work in. Bolstering, nothing on the lower end. So if you're worried about getting your hip squeezed, you're not gonna get that. A little bit on the sides, and I think that for this being a sport trim CT5, that makes sense. But why don't we go ahead, let's check out what the back seat is like in the all new CT5. All right guys, back seat time. It's interesting back here because I could feel that it has more space than an ATS for sure. It almost feels like it has the same amount of space as a CTS. So interesting with the leg room and everything. You can see that it does have the plastic on the backs of the seats, which I am gonna zonk that in a $51,000 car. This should be all leather. They did give you 2 leather pockets, which is a nice touch. You can put your abacus, your kids can put their books if they still have those. Back here, you got your 2 rear AC vents, very simple. No actual AC controls though. Nice little 12 volt and a USB-C, so they're gonna be able to keep their stuff charged. And like I said, you have that rear portion of that panoramic style sunroof. My hair is a little bit spiked up, so it is kind of just brushing a little bit, but if you notice, they kind of give you a little bit of a notch in the top portion to give you a little bit more headroom, but it does feel a little claustrophobic for sure with how close the ceiling is as you're sitting here. But the seats are, the leather, I'm telling you, is on point. And I like the way the seat is angled. Armrests, that's perfect. It's actually softer than the armrest that's up front. You have your 2 cup holders for your drinks. Feeling good though overall, just a little bit tight, but me, I'm not sitting in the back. You're sitting in the back, I'll be driving. But let's go ahead, check out the trunk space and see how much room we have in the CT5. All right guys, time to pop open this trunk, see what kind of junk we can fit in there. Nice, fast release. Decent size on the opening, and the great news is those seats are gonna do a 60-40 split. You got some cubbies here. If you need a stockpile for a zombie apocalypse and you need to put your Twinkies back here and you don't want your kids to find them, you can put them back here. Let's see what's underneath the rear cover. No spare, so you don't get a spare with your CT5 Sport Edition. You're gonna get this though, which this is something very special. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this up for everybody. And here you have a nice little organizer for your trunk. So it's nice little touches like that where you could organize everything and it's not all sloshing around. But if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's take the all new CT5 for a spin. All right guys, we're leaving Dimmick Cadillac. We're in the all new. This is my first time driving a CT5. You're here with me. Let's see how the 2-liter with the 10-speed goes. Step on the loud pedal, drops down. You're actually getting some kind of sound that's simulated in the cabin. It could be a little bit deeper, but this is the 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged version. This will be available with a naturally aspirated V6, and then of course the Blackwing edition. I would love to see a supercharged V8 in this. I think that we would all want a CT5V to be made and put in this vehicle. I am digging the all-new infotainment system. Really nice size screen, and I like the way that they integrated it into the dash. That really is a big plus. I think a missed opportunity is making the whole dash digital. A lot of companies are using the TFT displays, everything from Lexus to Kia and everybody in between. It would be nice to have that on this particular trim, especially at $51,000. But the analog gauges are very, very easy to read, very easy to understand at a quick glance, which is nice. You do have a heads-up display, just shows your speed, and it is movable, so that is a nice touch. But in this left-hand bend, just being gingerly, good feel from the steering wheel. And this steering wheel, I'm telling you, I like holding on to it. The thickness is really spot on. It's got these very nice notches at 10 and 2, which feel good. And visibility out the front windshield is nice. What's crazy is that these side mirrors are ultra small. They look cool, but they're ultra small. Let me go ahead and put this into manual. We're gonna go into manual mode here, and I'm gonna shift with the paddles, and we're gonna see how she handles. On the brakes, remember those 6-piston calipers, good brake pedal feel, nice turn in. Let me downshift here again. I had to search for where it said my gear was. It's in the lower right-hand corner, and it's red. Once you see it, it's easy to understand. But as we go around this nice bend, I'm getting nice feel throughout pedals, steering, And the sound is semi-decent in here, so I am liking the way that they did something with the sound. The transmission, though, shifts very, very quick. Even with the paddles, it's almost like you hit the paddle and you're wondering if you even shifted. That's how smooth the 10-speed is in this CT5. Rear-wheel drive platform, of course, just like the CTS and the ATS that's being replaced by it. And that's a great feeling, too, to have a nice rear-wheel drive car. That always makes driving a little bit more engaging, and I always like the feedback that I get from a rear-wheel drive car. So let's go ahead and see the acceleration. Second gear on throttle. The shifts, I'm telling you, it's nice how large the paddles are. You're not gonna miss them trying to downshift. They are plastic, but still overall feel. Let's see how the handling goes. I'm gonna go a little harder into this turn. Third gear, second gear, turn in, on throttle, here we go. Now, one thing I'm noticing getting on it a little harder is that there is a little bit of a vacuum sound. It almost sounds like a vacuum cleaner right by my left leg. That's obviously the sound of the turbo and whatnot with the 2 liters. So something that doesn't sound very, very sporty. I wish that would have a little bit different note. So I am zonking that portion of the way that the whole engine and experience sounds. I do, like I said, the view out the front is great. The rear window's a little angled, so it's a little tight. Side windows are great, but the mirrors are on the smaller side, but they look really good. So from a look standpoint, you're definitely getting a nice looking side mirror. Just it's a little small in the actual usable glass section. I'm gonna put it back into automatic mode, and we're gonna get on the highway and see how she drives here. But back on throttle. 0 to 60 is spot on. 0 to 67.1 seconds or so. They're definitely not fudging the numbers. It would be nice if it was quicker. I'm looking forward to coming back to Dimmick Cadillac and definitely reviewing one with the V6. That I think would be a little bit more engaging and kind of fit the personality of this CT5 just a little bit more. If you're listening, it is very quiet in the cabin, so that definitely is a thumbs up. Even with the sunroofs open, we do have zero glare. There's no glare on that screen, which is nice to know. It's easy to see, easy to understand. All the buttons are in great reach. I mean, the way that they have the cockpit laid out in here when you're behind the business end, it makes sense, it feels good, and everything is exactly where you want it to be. And it feels like a higher level of quality in here compared to the CTS and the ATS. Obviously, comparing same trims, the quality and the fit and finish is very nice in here, but it's got a solid feel for sure, which it gives you confidence, and it gives you a pleasurable ride when you're not hearing a ton of noise coming into the cabin. All right, guys, we're driving on the highway. I'm trying to go actually on purpose into some of the little ruts from trucks and whatnot, and really nice and solid. Very, very good sound deadening material. I do like the way they kind of bring the turn signal and wrap it all the way around the tip of the side mirrors, because you can actually see it when you turn it on. You have your blind spot monitoring built into the mirror, which to me, I wish it was brought in the cabin like some other brands do. It's just easier to see when somebody's in your blind spot when they have that warning light on the interior rather than the exterior. But let's see how she handles in this U-turn. On the brakes, just leaving it in automatic mode. Great turning, I'm telling you, turning is awesome. Rolling, 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 rolling. Here we go. So definitely planted. Am I braking traction? No. The car needs a little bit more power to do that, but definitely good feedback from the front and the back of the car, and it felt solid all the way around that U-turn as we went under the overpass there. So that's really, really great news. Up front, you don't have any issues of the ceiling being too close to you. You don't feel claustrophobic. It's just depending on the size of your passengers, it gets a little worse in the back seat, for sure. But overall, I mean, I think this is definitely something that you need to look at if you are going to go the BMW 3 Series route. Or of course, now we have to add in there the Genesis G70, whether you like it or not, the Kia Stinger GT, whether you like it or not, and then of course the midsize sports sedans from Audi and Mercedes-Benz as well, and of course the Japanese brands as well. I don't want to forget anybody. There are a lot of choices in this segment, and I think that overall the CT5 does bring a lot of good points to the table. It's just going to be interesting to see how the other trim levels play out and the other engine options for sure. But hopefully this gave you a nice overview of what the CT5 is all about. We're going to wrap this one up and get back to Dimmick Cadillac, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been a great day here at Dimmick Cadillac. I definitely got to thank Steve and the rest of the crew. They contacted us as soon as these CT5s rolled off of the truck. What can I say? I think Cadillac did a smart move, kind of simplified their lineup a bit, brought the best of both of those two models, the ATS and the CTS, into the CT5. And if this Sport Edition really shows the direction that they're going to be able to go in with this Blackwing edition that eventually is going to hit the lots, I'm very excited. And I think definitely it opens up the door for people to maybe not go the German route, BMW or Audi or Mercedes-Benz, or some of those other brands like Acura or Infiniti. But if it's cars like these that you want to keep seeing on the channel, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit the subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Radies Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the link in the description. Get yourself some Radies Rides merch. I got to give it up to Big Guns McGee, Tom Moschner. He's working the crowd here. There's a working crowd going on. They're doing some construction. He's able to work through all of that, even though they're staring at us. So thank you, Tom, for all your hard work and focus. And just like always, I'll see you on the next ride.